All right, sorry about that delay, guys. Thank you so much for waiting. My name is Chris. You guys will be joining me here at Fire and Dice. We're going to be streaming 6 rounds of Legacy today, so pretty excited about that. Got 53 players in attendance, so it's going to be a pretty magic-filled day. We're going to have a lot of cool things happening on stream today. We have Aluren versus. Ooh, I should probably get that fixed. Mr. Aiden Rubinstein is actually on burn, so I'll get that corrected for you. But looks like we're going to be kicking this off pretty soon. Nothing too out of the ordinary for either of these players, although Nick Escobar on Aluren, looks like he chose the blue. Yeah, he looks like he chose the Sultai version, straight up, versus some versions are on white for the new Recruiter of the Guard, but Nick has skewed that, instead opting for a little bit more streamlined version, less, I guess I wouldn't want to call them shenanigans, but less of more, I guess we could say. But here we go. We get started. I think Nick won the die roll, but I'm not 100% sure. Take a look here. Anything spicy out of... Well, we do have Glintnest Crane and Calastra Healer for Nick over here, which are not normally seen. Glintnest Crane has been seeing more play, I should say, so I guess it's becoming more typical. Whereas Calastra Healer is definitely very new. I was speaking to him a little bit before the tournament. He says it's because primarily it can be cascaded into with Shardless Agent. So that's good. I mean, nothing wrong with that. And then it has like the same kind of effect as Parasitic Strix that combos off with Cavern Harpy. So see how that goes. Looks like Nick at least taking... Oh, both players taking a mulligan here. So that's it's unfortunate, but I mean, 1 for 1, right? So both players starting off with 6, can't be too upset about it. Let's see. And whereas on Aiden's side, what are we dealing with here? So Lightning Bolts, obviously a staple of this deck, but playing a little bit less creatures, although it has a Simian Spirit Guide, which can allow for some pretty good openers. Also lets him play around things like Daze, and which we won't have to worry about in this matchup, but it might be considerations for that later down the line. I'm sorry. So we'll see how this goes. Looks like Aiden is keeping, and looks like Nick is also keeping. So we're going to get underway here very quickly and see what happens. All right. Let's see what Nick decides to lead with. Oops, sorry. My apologies. Make sure that that doesn't happen again. Ooh, goes for basic. Is that forest or swamp? Looks like a swamp. Death Red Shaman, a great opener. Looks like we're getting a Swift Rift from Aiden. Simian Spirit Guide. Oh my goodness. Lava Spike. Uh-oh. Nick goes to a quick 14 on turn 1. Kind of the explosiveness of Simian Spirit Guide. Not a very common strategy, but it is what it is. Looks like Nick's going to go ahead and go down to 13. I mean, that's already kind of a precarious life total, to be completely honest with you, but we'll see how he manages to maneuver his way through this. Let's see. Shardless Agent. All right. So 2 basics in play right now. We're flipping. What are we going to hit? Kind of the lotto here. Abrupt Decay. Nice. Hit the Monastery Swift Spear. So now Nick's kind of back in the game. I mean, he's at... oops. I've been updating the wrong thing. 13. We've... yeah, so removing the pressure off the table obviously alleviates some of the pressure on Nick's life total instead. But Well, I mean, we'll have to see. So lightning bolt is going straight to the face. Aiden not messing around. Aiden knows exactly where these spells are going and what their primary use is. But at 2 cards, not sure. Not sure what his follow-up plan is here. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Nick drawing a brainstorm to go with his force of will here. So definitely in a much stronger position now than he was just like on turn 2, right? So, oops, sorry guys. My apologies about that. It's getting some slight difficulties here, but I think everything's gonna work out right now. Nick fetching again, getting all basics. I mean, playing around possible price of progress, which is kind of an issue. Oh, let's see how this goes. But doesn't look like. Oh, I guess Nick is at 8. Huh, interesting. I guess I must have missed that. What the hell? What is happening here? Something's wrong with our layout, unfortunately. It keeps shifting in and out. Ooh, Leovold really good in this position. Nick kind of starting to close the door a little bit. Looks like Aiden. What is Aiden gonna have here? Looks like he passes the turn. Yeah, this is not a great position for Aiden. Now at 16. Now at 18. Or 16, I should say. Sorry. Attacks for 5. Goes to 11. Yeah, this is really good, especially with Leovold. Not that drawing extra cards is not going to come up probably, but every time Nick gets targeted, he's going to get a card out of the deal. So just ahead of on card advantage against Raiden. Oh my gosh, Aiden draws another land. I can't really tell what's in his hand, unfortunately. It might actually be a Spirit Guide. Yeah, it looks like he's going to cast it. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, Nick probably going to go for the Abrupt Decay. Yeah, when Aiden says wow in response. But it looks like Nick is gonna bash in for 4. Yeah, looks like that's pretty much it. All right, well, Aiden not quite happy with how that game went, but can't be shaken too quickly yet. We have to go on the sideboards, and Nick may not have too much in the sideboard for Aiden here. I mean, just to be honest with you, it may just be for decks. He might just have a sideboard dedicated for decks that he was expecting to see, not necessarily burn. But let's take a look at the sideboard. So Nick has 1 copy of Leovold, Emissary of Tress, which we just saw there, 2 copies of Carpet of Flowers, 1 Gliss of the Traitor, 2 Thoughtseize, 1 Abrupt Decay, I believe is what this says. Yes, 1 Abrupt Decay, 1 4th Bridge Prowler, 1 Powder Keg, 1 Mindbreak Trap, 1 Caracas, 2 Fairy Macabre, 1 Fatal Push, and 1 Eternal Witness. Oh, these are all like great bullets, actually. But I definitely expect the Leovold to come in. A lot of people might say that it's a little slow, but it's extremely, extremely good in this matchup. I think there's no understating that, or overstating that even, I should say. Gliss of the Traitor, are reasonable, I suppose, but probably not good enough. 2 Thoughtseize, I can see those coming in. Maybe the Fatal Push. The E-Witness is kind of cute too. There's definitely a lot of options for Nick here, and I don't suspect that he will have to board too much of his combo out in order to accommodate them. So kind of free in a sense. Let's take a look over at the other side. So Aiden's got 1 Tormod's Crypt, 2 Red Blast, Red Elemental Blast, 1 Searing Blood, 3 Smash Smithereens, 1 Dismember, 4 Exquisite Firecraft, 2 Scab Clan Berserker, and 1 Koth of the Hammer. I like Red Elemental Blast is not bad here. It's going to take care of pesky Leovold, to also counter Shardless Agent and Baleful Strix, which can be kind of problematic in general. Or it can it could counter the things that come into play from Shardless Agent. Clearly, just having some form of interaction with stuff on the stack is a little bit better for Aiden, just because, especially when things come into play for the Aluren deck, because they have so many enter the battlefield effects, those are going to yield him yield Nick a lot of advantage. So interacting with things on the stack probably a little bit important on this matchup. Smash the Smithereens might actually be pretty good. Again, he has 4 Baleful Strix for Shardless Agent. So if Aiden is kind of. Oh, and I think the other Strix, the parasitic Strix, is also an artifact. So if Aiden kind of puts Nick on that, if he's kind of aware of the matchup a little bit, he might want to bring in Smash Smithereens. Not sure yet, but we'll see. One Dismember. There's nothing super huge out of Nick's deck that we want Dismember for necessarily, but I could see it maybe coming in. Like Leovold is that problematic. So Scabland Berserker, basically just another form of Eidolon of the Great Revel. That might be okay. I'm not 100% sure. I guess you can do some like kind of tricky things with it once Aluren's in play, but I guess. I mean, Eidolon's already really good at that kind of interaction, and Scabland Berserker is just more of the same, except it's only for spells. So probably don't want it. Torment's Crypt probably not coming in, although you would think it's decent, at least versus Deathrite Shaman. It's really not that impressive. It's just going to sit there and kind of maybe get one effect out of the game and not lean the matchup one way or another too heavily. Searing Blood, I can see Searing Blood coming in. There's nothing wrong with that. It complements the 3 he already has in the deck, and it allows him to kind of deal with these support pieces that Nick is trying to play. And if he can get lucky and time his removal correctly, he can also start whittling away at the combo. So definitely a lot of cool options for both our players here. So we're going to have to check that out, see which way they decide to go. So let's see. Aiden ready to get going, but thanks again for joining us here at Fire and Dice. My name is Chris again. We are streaming our Legacy event. We have 53 players in attendance. It's one of our larger events. Not the largest Legacy event, at least, but it's one of our larger events in recent memory. So we are pretty excited to bring you full coverage. We're going to be streaming all day, including the top 8. So 6 rounds leading to the top 8. So that's 9 rounds of Legacy today. Some of these players we may see in maybe we'll see one of these players in the finals. Nick Esobar, Aiden Rubinstein. These are names you guys want to take stock of. So we'll see where they get going, okay? Looks like Aiden's pretty happy with his opener. I saw Chain Lightning and a couple other 1-drops. Can't be upset with that. All right, so the Chain Lightning's going straight to the face. I mean, where else is it going to go, I suppose? Nick draws. Let's see if he can have another game like last game. He managed to get basically all of his basics into play, which was very good because it helps shield against Price of Progress. But here, it seems like he's being a little less judicious. Maybe he's contemplating a dual end with this Polluted Delta at the moment. Ooh, wow, Aiden already 11 to 20, Aiden's favor. Let's see if Aiden can keep this up. Having kept a 7, I imagine the rest of his hand is basically gas. I see 1 land, and Sulfuric Vortex is coming down next turn, which is going to be really difficult for Nick to beat. Looks like, yeah, Nick's going for Bayou instead. Looks like he doesn't have the flexibility in this hand as he did last game, so he's going to have to play a little bit into Price of Progress. Already kind of hairy situation. He needs to start playing spells, obviously. So, looks like Nick already has 1 basic at the very least, but not having access to blue might be difficult, although I do see an Underground Sea, so right now, looks like we're going to hit that with Abrupt Decay right now. Yeah, Nick's got it at the ready. Not going to fall for this 3 mana. Yeah, this 3 mana enchantment that's normally very good in the matchup, I would say, for Nick, who already starts at like a relatively low life total. Now, not being able to gain life is obviously a huge part of the text on Sulfuric Vortex, but it looks like Nick has a Shardless Agent follow-up. Yep. Which is obviously pretty good. Looks like Fatal Push is going to come into play. Nick decides not to cast it, just puts it on the bottom of his library. But at the very least, we got a game going. Ooh, Nick's got he's got to deal with this. Looks like he's going to go ahead and respect the Sulfuric Vortex. And since I think those are the only 2 in Aiden's deck, that's the only 2 he has to deal with. There's none in the main, just the 2 in the sideboard. Looks like... Oh, I'm sorry, no. There's 3 in the main. My apologies. I misspoke. So, alright. Aiden taking another beating from a Shardless Agent. Sort of reminiscent of last game. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, we're gonna have that fixed. All right, look at this. Glissa the Trader does make an appearance. I think that card is really good in these style of decks. Um, so I mean, we'll see if this yields anything for Nick. He doesn't have anything in the bin quite yet, but I mean, Aiden's gonna have to start. You know, this is gonna demand a response from Aiden. So we'll see how this goes. Aiden has enough lands to hardcast Pyroblast. Nick makes a quick little jab. This looks like it's gonna wrap up pretty quickly, so we're gonna have to start thinking about maybe another match soon. But oh wow, look at that! There's the Fire Blast that Nick was commenting on. Oh my gosh, Aiden with another land passes the turn. What is Nick gonna do at 6? Can he really afford to kind of play any spells in front of this Eidolon? I don't think so. I think he's just gonna have to play the long game and hope not to get burned out, basically. Because at this rate, Aiden's actually locked under his own Eidolon. So Nick, and with only access to one card per turn, Aiden's going to be hard pressed to kind of string enough burn to kind of get past it. Because he's also going to take damage from those, right? Like the only thing that kind of. All right, so gonna take 2 off of the Eidolon here. Oh my goodness. I'm really sorry about that, guys. Some small technical difficulties here. We'll probably have to, at least for the very least,